Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha, Shama Sundara Radha, Shama Sundara Radhe. Jaya Radha, Govinda Radha, Govinda Radhe. Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra. Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra. Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Vrindavan. Jaya Gaura Nityai, Jaya Gaura Nityai, Jaya Gaura Nityai, Jaya Gaura Nityai. Jaya Jaya Panchatattva, Jaya Panchatattva, Jaya Panchatattva, Jaya Panchatattva. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Hare Krishna message. Thank you.
Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you so much, Mataji. We'll welcome His Grace Gaurachand Gopinath Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhu, Pranam.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Over to you, Prabhu.
1 second, I need to adjust the lights. Give me a second.
Okay, Prabhu. So today Prabhu will cover verses from 6 to 9 in the 10th chapter. Is it okay, Prabhu?
Yeah, Mataji.
Yeah.
Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari, Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari, Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Ramo Ramo Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Baladeva Subhadramayi Jaya Sudarshana Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha Jaya Anantadev Lakshmi Narasimha Jaya Anantadev Jaya Gauranitaya Jaya Gauranitaya Gauranitaya Jaya Gauranitaya Jaya Prabhupada Shri Jaya Prabhupada Omajnanatamrandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamagyam Tadati Swapatantikam Vandegam Shri Guru Shri Udapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajadam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadodam Parijana Sagitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sakana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamcha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimade Bhaktivedanta Swami Dinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshadarine Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanjana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sudhe Devi Pranamami Hare Priye Vancha Kalpataru Besha Kripa Sindhu Bhaye Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Grim Yat Kripa Tamaham Vande Shri Guru Dinadarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Harihi Om Sat Sat. Hare Krishna. Welcome to all of you for the today's Bhagavatam.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Danda Pranam.
Anushya Mataji, Padma Mataji, Bharati Mataji, Radha Mataji, Chandrika Mataji,
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Danvat Pranam.
Rakesh Prabhu, Krishnamurti Prabhu,
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Meenakshi Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Danvat Pranam.
Yesterday I was looking at
Hare Krishna Prabhuji,
Krishna
Danvat
Prabhuji,
Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Shanti Ram. I was thinking yesterday, I was reading this, going through this. It's going to be very, very, very technical. So you might fall asleep. So what should we do? Should we do some Jagannath Katha or we continue in this topic only? Because again, these topics will be covered again and again in different texts throughout this chapter. It will be the same thing will be repeated, of course, and I can give you an overview. Some of them may be repeated in the next sessions, but it's going to be too technical today. So as much as possible, I'll make it interactive. And if you don't understand, don't worry about it. You will get it invariably, but if you don't understand also, but the essence, if you are able to understand, which is more than sufficient. Otherwise, sometimes people get, it is so complicated, I'm not able to understand. But you really appreciate how Prabhupada put in so much effort in writing whatever he wrote in 5-6 years. We take lifetime to read and still we don't understand. That's the beauty of Shrimad Bhagavatam. So appreciate Srila Prabhupada's contribution. If something is going overhead, don't stop. don't ask question, because we will not be able to address this in this session. At least there are something you basically don't understand, you can ask, but it's going to be, the topics is like that. So with that, we will do a yes, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhatreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhavati Rottama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devagi Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. So what we will do is, I want one shloka per one person. I need 4 volunteers to read entire purport, translation, and shloka. Then we will discuss, because at first I want to cover what our Prabhupada has written in the purport. Then we will see how much we can cover, because if I don't cover rest of things also, you will be able to get an idea. So I think Monday we had a discussion. Shloka 1 to 5 you covered, Mataji, is that so?
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah.
Okay, so the first one, you all of you know the 10 topics of Bhagavatam. Then second is shloka is all about why we have to know about all this creation and things like that. Then the third one is talks about sarga and visarga. The fourth topic is Sanam, Poshanam, Manvantra. Fifth shloka up to Ishanukata we have covered. So what is the sixth one? Out of 10 topics we covered up to Ishanukata, what is the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th and 10th? Highlight.
It's Nirodha,
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 Mukti, and Ashraya.
Ashraya.
Okay, so this shlokas number 6 is talking about Nirodha and Mukti, and 7th shloka will talk about Ashraya, and 8th and 9th again the Ashraya part of it, but it is trying to explain through Adhyatmika, Adibhautika, Adi Devika. In order to understand that, again you need to go back to creation. So if you want to understand here Nirodha, then again you need to understand detail about the creation. So any topic which we want to connect, these are all interrelated. So that's why I'm not too sure where to start, but we will see how it goes. So basically I wanted to go through this text and purport, then we will do a presentation. So volunteers, who wants to go first? Shanti Ramachandran, please read the text, translation, the shloka, translation and purport, entire thing, not highlighted one, go for entire thing. Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Nirodhashanushāyanam Atmana Saha Shaktibhi Muktir Hitvanyatha Rupam Svarupena Vyavasthithi. Perfect. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The merging of the living entity. Only 1 second, Prabhu. The merging of the living entity along with his conditional living tendency with the mystic lying down of the Mahavishnu is called the winding up of the cosmic manifestation. Liberation is the permanent situation of the form of the living entity after he gives up the challengeable, changeable, gross and subtle material bodies. Perfect. There are 2 types of living entities. Most of them are ever liberated or nitya muktas, while some of them are never ever conditioned. The ever conditioned souls are apt to develop a mentality of lording over the material nature, and therefore the material cosmic creation is manifested to give the ever conditioned souls 2 kinds of facilities. One facility is that the conditioned soul can act according to his tendency to lord it over the cosmic manifestation. And the other facility gives the conditioned soul a chance to come back to Godhead.
No, you can read entire stuff.
Continue, Prabhu.
Yeah.
So after the winding up of the cosmic manifestation, Most of the conditioned souls merge into the existence of the Mahavishnu, personality of Godhead, lying in his mystic slumber to be created again in the next creation. But some of the conditioned souls who follow the transcendental sound in the form of Vedic literatures and are thus able to go back to Godhead, attain spiritual and original bodies after after quitting the conditional gross and subtle material bodies. The material conditional bodies develop out of the living entities forgetfulness of their relationship with the Godhead, and during the course of the cosmic manifestation, the conditioned souls are given a chance to revive their original status of life with the help of revealed scriptures, so mercifully compiled by the Lord in his different incarnations. Reading or hearing of such transcendental literatures helps one become liberated even in the conditional state of material existence. All the Vedic literatures aim at devotional service to the personality of Godhead, and as soon as one is fixed upon this point, he at once becomes liberated from conditional life. The material gross and subtle forms are simply due upon this point. Due to the conditioned soul's ignorance, and as soon as he is fixed in the devotional service of the Lord, he becomes eligible to be freed from the conditioned state. This devotional service is transcendental attraction for the Supreme on account of his being the source of all pleasing humors. Everyone is after some pleasure of humor, humor for enjoyment, but does not know the supreme source of all attraction. Raso vaisa rasam hi ivayam labvanadi bhavati. The Vedic hymns inform everyone about the supreme source of all pleasure. The unlimited fountainhead of all pleasure is the personality of Godhead. And one who is fortunate enough to get this information through transcendental literatures like Shrimad Bhagvatam becomes permanently liberated to occupy his proper place in the kingdom of God. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Okay, so here in this purport, as you mentioned, we are talking about Nirodha as well as Mukti. So Prabhupada first talks about Nirodha. There are two type of living entities. One is already regulated, Nitya Muktas and Nitya Baddhas. They are eternally conditioned and eternally liberated. The pure soul like Srila Prabhupada are eternally liberated. They come time and again to deliver us. Whereas there are certain conditions of soul, they are living here. So there are two kinds of, again the Nitya Baddhas, the eternally conditioned there. Again there are two types of people. One is that trying to go back to Godhead. Another one is there are certain people, they will never go back to Godhead. In the sense, the material world is eternal. They will take birth and again and again and again. They will be in the hellish condition, life after life. They will not go back to Godhead. So the Prabhupada says that here, one facility is that conditional can act according to his tendency to lord it over the cosmic manifestation. These are the people will never go back. And the other facility gives the condition told to chance to go back to Godhead. There are other people, sadhakas, who try to practice Krishna conscious and try to go back to Godhead. Now, there is one important keyword in the question to all of you is that what is this mystic slumber? Mahavishnu, personality of Godhead, lying in his mystic slumber. What do you understand by mystic slumber? What is mystic slumber?
Karnadakshaya Vishnu.
Okay, what is he doing, Karnadakshaya Vishnu? What is slumber word, the meaning, slumber?
He's lying in the causal ocean.
Okay. So what is he doing in lying in the causal ocean? What is the slumber mean? The dictionary word slumber, what is the slumber dictionary word mean?
It's Yoga Nidra.
Yoga Nidra. Correct. What is Yoga Nidra?
Anadikal.
Yoga Nidra is a Nidra where one does not sleep but just in a state of rest.
So Lord needs a rest.
No, he doesn't need.
Then Lord Jagannath doesn't have eyelids. He doesn't sleep. The Lord doesn't need a rest. But still
Yoga Nidra. Yoga Nidra.
okay, what is that? That's what I'm asking. What does that Yoga Nidra mean?
It seems to be like sleeping, but he is doing all his.
Okay. We'll
devotions.
see.
Just winds up everything, annihilates everything, puts it into himself. It's not a state of rest, but it's just a state of inaction, probably.
Inaction. Okay, Lord is inactive, is it? Yeah, one sense, you can't say inactive, but yeah.
No, not Lord's inaction, but
That
material
actually-
world's inaction. We
Okay.
are
Full
not
meditation.
at that time.
Okay. Now another question. Mataji last class she asked about 4 types of annihilation. Who can remember this 4 types of annihilation? I think you all took the notes in 12th chapter, 12 canto also she gave a reference.
Yeah.
What are the 4
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Naimitikaya annihilation, Prakrutika, Ayantika, Nitya annihilation. 4 times.
what are those in one liner?
It is related to Brahma. That is like Naimitaka. It's end of Brahma's one day, Prabhu. Whereas Prakritika annihilation is it's the 100 years of Brahma, and Ainitika is the living entity. The soul go back to Lord's. And Nitya annihilation is like seeing the change in each and every day, constantly.
Okay. So I will talk about the mystic slumber and also little more detail about what happens in the Himalaya, right? When I do the presentation, it will come. So these are the 2 topics you note it down. If you don't get the answer, end of the class you should ask, because I just want to cover the purport. Then we will discuss. So this is on the Nirodha, the pastimes of unmanifestation. So here we see that there are 4 types of annihilation happens, and also there is something about a mystic slumber. So that's very important. We will understand these 2 topics. And moving on to the liberation, in this what Prabhupada says that mukti, a person who want a mukti, then they need to take up to devotional service, especially those who are fortunate enough to get this information through transcendental literature like Shrimad Bhagvatam becomes permanently liberated. Now, what is the title of this chapter? What is the title of this chapter?
Bhagavatam is the answer to
All questions.
all the questions. Yeah.
What do you understand by that? What do you mean by all questions means what? Anything? Everything? Or what is that?
Generally,
What is the key?
Questions related to
Questions
self-realization.
related to
Uh-huh.
Self-realization.
Okay. So what is the question about self-realization? What is one of the key question?
Who am I? How we are connected with the God? How to attain liberation? Mukti.
my identity.
The main important problem all the living entity has that they want to lord it over the material nature. One time one devotee was telling, Prabhu, this devotee was 10 years in Krishna consciousness. He was very active. Suddenly he left Krishna conscious. Have you seen or have you heard these cases? Many people who live after 10 years of practice sometime?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, so it is not surprise. Prabhupada said, don't be surprised by how many devotees coming to Krishna consciousness. When we do outreach program, not the entire world will be listening to you and coming. Very few people will come. How many people in this, how many people are staying with Krishna conscious ISKCON? Very few will be there. Don't expect huge masses of crowd will be following once they come in. And you shouldn't be surprised that, you should not be surprised how many people are coming or how many people are going. It's surprised that how many people are staying in ISKCON. That's a surprise, because we rebelled originally against Krishna, saying that I don't want to live with you. I want to control over the material world. Krishna has told several things. We were in the spiritual world and we are so adamant that we want to come back. If this soul is eternally having so much condition, there is no surprise that some people leave it after 10 years. We have millions of years we were with Krishna, but we so much rebellious that we have come. So that is the question. In the Bhagavatam answers by reading this creation, who is the creator, understanding the destruction, how this ashraya we're going to talk about in the next shloka. This will give you the solid answer as to why we need to learn this to, come back saying we are the Jivera Surpai Krishna Nityadas. Who am I? Jivera Surpai Krishna Jivera Surpai Krishna Nityadas. So that understanding, if you want to come, you may be theoretically you are understanding, yeah, I'm a spirit soul, I need to serve. But the depth, as the mountain is you see from very far, it looks very small. As you grow nearer, you see huge things. Similarly, as you see more deep into the creation, oh, you understand, my God, there are so many Vishnus are there, so many elements are coming out, so many things he is creating. Then you will understand, okay, I need to surrender to another option like that. Okay, so that also I will cover it in the presentation, but I just want to go to the next shloka. First cover the basic things, then another half an hour we can focus more on the creation, destruction, Adhyatmika, Adibhautika and all those stuff. Because it's all interrelated. I don't want to break the flow. Once we read it, then we can read again, go through again. So can somebody read about the Ashraya Shloka?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yeah.
Abhasascha nirodhascha yatosti satyavashiyate sa ashraya param brahma paramatmeti shabdhyate. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The Supreme One, who is celebrated as the Supreme Being or the Supreme Soul, is the Supreme Source of the cosmic manifestation as well as its reservoir and winding up. Thus, he is the Supreme Fountainhead, the Absolute Truth. Shall I continue? Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Synonyms for the Supreme Source of all energies, as explained in the very beginning of the Shrimad Bhagavatam, are Janmadhyasya yatha vadanti tat tattva vidhas tattvam yad jnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaneti sabdyate, called Parabrahma, Paramatma or Bhagavan. The word iti used here in this verse completes the synonyms and thus indicates Bhagavan. This will be further explained in the later verses. But this Bhagavan ultimately means Lord Krishna because the Srimad Bhagavatam has already accepted the Supreme Personality of Godhead as Krishna. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. The original source of all energies or the Samam Bonam is the Absolute Truth, which is called Parabrahma, etc. And Bhagavan is the last word of the Absolute Truth. But even with the synonyms for Bhagavan, such as Narayana, Vishnu and Purusha, the last word is Krishna, as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matha sarvam pravartate, etc. Besides that, the Srimad Bhagavatam is the representation of Lord Krishna as a sound incarnation of the Lord. Krishne swadhamo pagate dharma jnanadibihi saha kalau nashta drisham esha puranarko adhunoditaha. Thus, by general conclusion, Lord Krishna is the ultimate source of all energies, and the word Krishna means that. And to explain Krishna or the signs of Krishna, the Srimad Bhagavatam has been prepared. In the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, this truth is indicated in the questions and answers by Suta Goswami and great sages like Shaunaka. And in the first and second chapters of the canto, this is explained. In the third chapter, this subject is more explicit, and the fourth chapter even more explicit. In the second canto, the absolute truth as the personality of Godhead is further emphasized, and the indication of the Supreme Lord Krishna. The summary of Srimad Bhagavatam in 4 verses, as we have already discussed in seconds. This Supreme Personality of Godhead in the ultimate issue is confirmed by Brahma in the Brahma Samhita as Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha. So it is concluded in the third canto of Shrimad Bhagavatam. The complete subject matter is elaborately explained in the 10th and 11th cantos of Shrimad Bhagavatam. In the matter of changes of Manus or Manvantaras, such as the Swayambhuva Manvantara and Chakshusha Manvantara, as they are discussed in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th cantos of Shrimad Bhagavatam. Lord Krishna is indicated. In the 8th canto, the Vaivasvarata Manvantara explained the same subject indirectly, and in the 9th canto, the same purport is there. In the 12th canto, the same is further explained, specifically regarding the different incarnations of the Lord. Thus, it is concluded by studying the complete Srimad Bhagavatam that Lord Sri Krishna is the ultimate Samambona, or the ultimate source of all energy. And according to the grades of worshippers, the indication of the nomenclature may be differently explained as Narayana, Brahma, Paramatma, etc. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Here, Prabhupada talks about even the creation, cosmic manifestation, as well as annihilation, winding up is done by the Lord. So he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So when we talk about liberation, mukti, what are the types of muktis available? Oh, this is Ashra. Okay. So Prabhupada is talking about the Samman Bonam is the Ashraya of everyone. So last I forgot to cover on the mukti in the last shloka. So what are the different type of liberation?
Pya, Samipya,
Samipya,
Salokya,
Saijam,
Salokya,
Sashti,
Ayudhya, and
Sayujya.
Only 4 has come. What about the others?
Sayujya, Samipya, Sarupya, Salokya, Sashti.
Okay. Thank you, Mataj. Now can somebody read the 8th one? 8th
Hare
one.
Krishna Prabhuji, I'll read Prabhuji.
Yeah, 8th one again talks about shelter, Ashraya of the Lord. So please go.
योऽध्यात्मिकोऽयं पुरुषः सोऽशावेवाधिदैविका यस्तत्रो भयविच्छेद पुरुषो ह्यादिभौतिका. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The individual person possessing different instruments of senses is called the Adhyatmic person, and the individual controlling deity of the senses is called Adi Daivik. The embodiment seen on the eyeballs is called the Adi Bhautik person. Purport. The supreme controlling Samam Bonam is the personality of Godhead in his plenary portion of Paramatma, or the supersoul manifestation in the Bhagavad Gita. In the Bhagavad Gita 10.42 it is said, अथवा बहुनैतेन किं ज्ञातेन तवार्जुन विष्टभ्याहम् इदं कृष्णम् एकांशेन स्थितो जगत्. All the controlling deities like Vishnu, Brahma and Shiva are different manifestations of the Paramatma feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, who exhibits himself in such manners by entering into each and every universe generated from him. But still, apparently, there are divisions of the controller and controlled. For example, in the food controlling department, the controller of food is a person made of the same ingredients as the person who is controlled. Similarly, each and every individual in the material world is controlled by the higher demigods. For example, we have our senses, but the senses are controlled by superior controlling deities. We cannot see without light, and the supreme controller of light is the sun. The sun god is in the sun planet, and we, the individual human beings, are any other being on this earth, are all controlled by the sun god as far as our eyes are concerned. Similarly, all the senses we have are controlled by the superior demigods, who are also as much living entities as we are, but one is empowered while the other is controlled. The controlled living entity is called the Adhyatmic person, and the controller is called the Adhidaivik person. All these positions,
Read the last one, the highlighted one.
that which distinguishes the controller and control, that is the material body, is called Adi Bhautik Purusha. The body is sometimes called Purusha as confirmed in the Vedas in the following hymn. Sava Esha Purusho Anna Rasamaya. This body is called the Anna Rasa embodiment. This body depends on food.
Thank you,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
So here again the Ashraya part is more explained in detail, explaining Adhyatmika, Adibhautika, Adidevika. So we need to understand this terminology. We have covered this sometime back in the second canto, 5th chapter, but it will be more revision. This chapter and second canto, 5th chapter and 10th chapter, these will have more similarities. The Virat Rupa expansion, how the Lord is created. So that part and this part, there are a lot of similarities. So we will cover that again or revise that again. So again, emphasis on the shelter. Prabhupada says that all of them rest on the Krishna. So can somebody read the 9th one?
May I read, Prabhuji?
And
Hare Krishna. Ekamekatara bhave yadanopalamhe tritayam tatra yo vedha sa atma swashrayashrayah. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All three of the above mentioned stages of different living entities are interdependent. In the absence of one, another is not understood. But the Supreme Being who sees every one of them as the shelter of the shelter is independent of all, and therefore he is the supreme shelter. Shall I read the purport, Prabhuji?
only highlighted one, please.
Okay, Prabhuji. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. There are innumerable living entities, one dependent on the other, in the relationship of the controlled and the controller. But of perception, no one can know or understand who is the controlled and who is the controller. For example, the sun controls the power of our vision. We can see the sun because the sun has its body, and the sunlight is useful only because we have eyes. Without our having eyes, the sunlight is useless, and without sunlight, the eyes are useless. Thus, they are interdependent and none of them is dependent. Therefore, the natural question arises concerning who made them interdependent. The one who has made such a relationship of interdependence must be ultimately completely independent. As stated in the beginning of the Shrimad Bhagvatam, the ultimate source of all interdependent objectives is the complete independent subject. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Okay, kindly I request you to read the Srila Prabhupada purport. It is wonderful. But I just let me switch over to the presentation so that we can go through in sequence of little bit on the Swarga, then Visarga, then little bit on the destruction and the Adhyatmika, Adidevika, Adibhautika. That's what I would cover. So now we know this 10 topics which we discussed in the first sloka, right? This is also in Bhagavatam, how it is. In fact, all the topics are here and there. It is there. It is not that purely, let's say, second chapter, first and second chapter only talks about Sarga, Visarga, Poshana. It talks about more on that topic. Of course, other Ashraya is always there. Prabhupada always says that take the shelter of Lord Krishna. Then there will be a lot of shloka, right? That it is always there. But the emphasis, the majority of the topic, if you see that in the sequence, then this is how the order in which this entire 10 subject matter is aligned to different chapters of Shrimad Bhagavatam. And third and fourth canto, which talks about again Sarga and Visarga in detail. That's what Prabhupada said, one of the purport you are reading. In third chapter, in more detail, it is there, Sthana. Third and fourth chapter, furthermore detail described. Fifth one is Sthana, the entire cosmic manifestation, which is again another big chapter and very complex subject. So this 3 and 4, even Narada is asking to Brahma how the universe was created. Maitreya Rishi is having also conversation with Vithura and Maitreya. They're having is all this chapter 3rd and 4th, 1st, 2nd. They're all talk about that. And 6th one is talks about the Poshana, the protection of the Lord. Even one time calling Narayana, how Ajamila was protected. So those kind of pastimes tells how the Lord protects the devotees. Uti talks about different pure and mixed bhakti. And 8th one talks about Manmantra, different Manmantras, how they ruled it. And the 9th one is talks about the Ishanukata, Lord Ramachandra and other pastimes, Sun and Moon dynasties. And the 10th canto is the Ashraya. So the 11th one is Mukti predominantly, and 12th one, as we mentioned yesterday, that annihilation was detailedly described in the 12th canto. If somebody want to refer to these topics, they can go and refer to these topics. Now the second sloka yesterday, these are the 10 shlokas of the first shloka, right? 2.10.1. Yesterday that's what was. The second one is why we need to know about it. So this has been discussed by Narada, Brahma, and other people. As I mentioned, Bhagavatam answer to all our questions. Especially the key question is, who am I? Why the individual entities want to lord over the material world? How did they rebel so much against Krishna and they came here? So that is the main topic. Then Narada asked, Yatrupam means how does the world look like, this material world, what it is consist of? So it is consist of 5 elements: Dravya, Kala, Jiva, Karma, and Subhava. Dravya means the 5 material elements, the material elements like Panchabhuta, we call it as earth, water, fire, ether, all those stuff. Then the Jiva has 2 things. One is karma, whatever he destined to get because of his previous activity. And the third is Swabhava, means his desire, what he wants to become, what he wants to do. Based on the desire, Swabhava, his future course of action will be decided. And we have, of course, this Kala. So any material manifestation in this world, it consists of these 5 elements. Now we will go further into details of this Dravya, Svabhava, Karma, Jiva, and Kala, all those details in that. And he asks various other questions: how it is created, where it is the dependent, where it is taking the shelter. Then we saw the famous shloka, Narayana Veda, Narayana Para. So that shloka talks about where everybody takes a shelter and things like that. So we will go in detail. So this second shloka talks about the importance of understanding this so that we get the core answers from Bhagavatam. Why are we here? So the third one starts with Sarga. So we can see in this chart, there are 3 places are there. Brahma Samhita talks about Devi Dama, Magesha Dama, Hari Dama. So on the topmost lotus, whatever you see, before Brahma Jyoti, the circles, there are 3 circles are there. The first 2 circles are Hari Dama, and after that is Shiva, which is Kailasha Dham. Then we have the material universe at the bottom. The big 2 circles are there. That is Devi Dham. So then in between is the Brahma Jyoti. One has to cross the Braja river. Then we have to come. Now, having said that, that is a distinction between the spiritual world and material world. Mahesha Dham, Shiva is in the border of the spiritual world and material world. Shiva also has a many incarnations, like how Krishna comes as a Vishnu, then as Purushavatar, then different avatars, Matsya, Kurma, Varaga, they all come out of from the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu or Shirodakshaya Vishnu. Similarly, Shiva also has various names. Shambho, we'll have Rudra, we call it as Sadashiva. So there is a personality Shiva who always there in the spiritual world. Sadashiva is none other than Vishnu. There is no distinction between Shiva and Vishnu. So then he manifests himself in the material world as a Shiva as well as into Rudra for annihilation. So that is topic for some other time, but I'm just trying to explain this entire structure. So this Sarga, when creation happens, the Antaranga Shakti, again everything happens to the energy. The first energy is Antaranga Shakti. We all know Tatatsa Shakti and Bhagiranga Shakti. The Antaranga Shakti is the pleasure potency or the internal energy of the Lord, which maintains the entire spiritual world. It is always Satchidananda. It is always eternal, knowledge, as well as blissful, happy. So that's why this Sandhini Shakti, Samvit Shaktini and Aladini Shakti gives the Satchit Ananda aspect of the spiritual world. So the spiritual world, there is no Maya. It is all entirely controlled by Antaranga Shakti, which again she internally has these 3 Satchit Ananda energies to give the pleasure potency to the Lord. Now this second Shakti is the Tatasha Shakti, which is a Jiva, as we can either go back to Godhead or we might be in the material world. Depends on the eternally, as we read in the purport, there are 2 kinds of Nitya Baddhas who they are all trying to go back. Another one is they're eternally residing, enjoying the facilities of the material world. So Tathata Shakti is a Jiva, either planning to go or it is trying to stay here. The third one is Bhagiranga Shakti, the Maya, material energy. She consists of predominantly these 8, Bhumi, Apo, Analo, Vayu, Kam. Mana, Buddhi, Ahankara, mind, false ego, intelligence, and the 5 elements. Using that, she creates, manifests this in material world. So question to all of you, right? Question to all of you. Now, we know Krishna comes as the Shirodakshaya Vishnu, Karadakshaya Vishnu, and he creates his universe. We know Brahma creates secondary creation. So what is the role of Shiva and Parvati here? Why they are called as the father of the universe? Or what is the role in their creation and recreation?
Shiva is the maintainer, Prabhuji. Shiva is the maintainer.
No, Vishnu is the maintainer.
He's a destruction.
destroyer, Prabhuji.
No, if I tell you read the Bhagvatam now, destroyer, actually it is destroyed by Vishnu himself.
But he has given the
There are three gunas, Prabhuji.
Sorry?
Yes, there are three gunas. He is the administrator for the Tamoguna, Prabhuji.
Okay, but do you say there is, apart from that, there is no role for him to create anything? Why they call it as when we go to the Shiva temple, there is a linga, and that is the what is it? We worship them as father and mother, the creation of the material world, and we worship them, the Gentiles, worshipping them, they are the fathers and mothers. So how does they come into picture in terms of creation?
As they are the father, Prabhuji, like the
What
source
is
of the
what is the
jivas.
role of then what is the role of these 3 Vishnus?
Okay.
What is the role of the 3 Vishnus then? Okay, keep thinking. Now the Sarga.
Shiva is in charge of Dukkalayam.
Okay, so the Sarga, the first one is the, as he mentioned, when the Lord comes, even though it is a material world, there is a spiritual place where Mahavishnu lies down and he creates. But in order to create Mahavishnu, you know, this Krishna expands into Balram into 4 quadruple expansion, then Narayana again they expand into 4 quadruple expansion. Then one of them from one of the Aniruddha, Pradyumna, Vasudeva, Sankarshana, this one of the Vishnu comes out, right? This Mahavishnu or Karanadakshaya Vishnu lies on the casual version, and he creates the elementary creation. He does the elementary creation. What is the elementary creation? This is called Pradhana. So there are some technical terms I'll keep telling. So if you please make a note of it. So this Pradhana consists of 16 items. What is this Pradhana? To give an example, it is all mixed state. For example, you have created atta, dough for chapati. That's a base ingredient. From atta, you can create some aloo paratha, or you might create pulka, or you might create different types of things, right, out of atta. So right now it is all in one state. It's all mixed, unmanifested form. You can't distinguish. Oh, this is the where I will do puri. This is the where I will do chapati. This is what I will do pulka. This is the place paneer parota I will do. That distinction you can't make. This has the 16 items, which is the primary items, which comes out of the energy of the Lord Himself, which is the universe. Sorry, which is the Mahavishnu. So what are those things? The 5 elements, which are earth, water, fire, air, ether. So first it manifests the ether, that is the subtle element. Then the further subtle element is air. Air consists of ether as well. Then third element manifest is fire. So the fire consists air and ether. Similarly, water. Water consists fire, air, and ether. Then the final is the more gross element is earth. So it is in the order. First it manifests ether, then air, fire, water, ether. So now there are equivalent tanmatras or sense object which is there. Use that would manifest. So from ether the sun comes out. That is the most subtle form of the things. That's why when we want to chant Hare Krishna mantra, that is the most subtle form of life to, way to reach. That's why we always say here Shrimad Bhagvatam. Other than many other things, we give priority to this element of hearing and chanting, hearing the sound like that. So then sound comes out from air, the touch comes out. Then you get the form from the fire, and water gives the taste, and earth gives the smell. So these are the how comes out, and through which senses, how we perceive the sound through ear, how do we feel the touch through skin, then the form you can see through eyes, and the taste through tongue and nose. Apart from that, there is a mind. So this 15 plus 1, 16 unmanifested item. There are much more, but these are the predominant 16 items. So this consists of this bulk of anpradana, or you can say this you can imagine as you want to make a poha at home. So you have to get all the ingredients. Let's say there's a storehouse, they kept everything. Like, you need avlaki, then you have a haldi, some dal to fry, tadka, oil, some vegetable. It's all kept in the store. Then somebody needs to go and get it. Then they have to make it poha. So these are something like in the store it is dumped, or it is all mixed together, you can see, sort of thing. And that is called pradana. So the Vishnu, you can see from the pore, so many universes keep coming, right? So using this main pradana, the Lord creates many universes. So far, any questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Is it that the Lord only keeps everything ready? Like in the unmanifested?
Doesn't need to keep it ready. Lord doesn't need to keep it ready. So based on his shaktis, his energies, and his. So I was asking the question Yoga Nidra. So in this picture, what do you see? He is in Yoga Nidra. So what is Yoga Nidra? I was asking that question. So the answer is that, so everybody has a consort, right? For example, Krishna as Radharani. Radharani would manifest as Lakshmi in Vaikuntha. Then she would manifest in the material world as Shiva and Parvati, right? So similarly, Mahavishnu also has a consort, but you never seen in any of the picture. Does anyone know who is the consort of Mahavishnu?
Lakshmi, Prabhuji.
Lakshmi, Prabhuji.
There is a specific name. See, Radharani, Lakshmi, Durga, Parvati are all same different incarnations of Radharani.
Devi, Bhudevi, Prabhuji.
No.
Rama.
Rama Devi. So she is the consort of Lord Vishnu, but you don't see here. But when he's in Yoga Nidra, is Lord in union with Rama Devi, and he is enjoying the pastimes. That's Yoga Nidra. It's not inactivity. It is not that he's taking rest. It is not that he's sleeping. So it is the activity. Like Krishna, how he has the pastime as the Radharani. The consort, Lord's consort, Mahavishnu's consort is Rama Devi. She is there, and he's having pastimes with her. The Yoga Nidra is the pleasure which is doing it. Now, I asked the question previously: what is the relation between Shiva, Parvati, and Vishnu in the creation? Right now, this is the answer. Now, Vishnu, he was lying in the causal ocean and also having pastime with Rama Devi. That's a slumber, or you can call it as the whatever it is. So. Okay, so when he sleeps, Rama Devi, the shadow of Rama Devi, right, also is a personality. For us, if I stand in front of the light or sun, there is a shadow comes out. It's the same personality, right? It's me and shadow, there is no difference. But in spiritual world, everything is a person. A shadow is also another person. It is not the same as like what we think. My hand is there is a shadow of my hand is there. Both are two different personality in spiritual world. But here in material world, it is not so. So similarly, Rama Devi's shadow also want to participate in the Yoga Nidra or enjoyment with the Purusha, the Supreme Personality, Mahavishnu. But Mahavishnu said, no, you are the shadow. I can't touch you directly because my consort is Rama Devi. But you want to enjoy the pastimes, then you need to become Maya Devi. That's why the Durga is none other than the shadow of the Rama Devi, which she expands into Maya Devi. Now, similarly, when Mahavishnu glances to the 16 elements pradana, that manifest as a Mahatattva. So, the Lord never touches anything on the material. Now, one might ask, Lord is creating everything. He's in the material world. But I said, even though he's in the material world, he's in a spiritual place. It's a planet, like Dhruva planet. It is in the material universe, the pole star. But it is a spiritual planet. Similarly, Mahavishnu also should have some place, right, where he is lying. That's the causal ocean where he is lying, and that is a completely spiritual place. When he, from the pores, come out many universe bubbles comes out. So then he would, so he has this 16 pradhana items, right? That he would, impregnate with his glance. Technically, the glance is also another personality. It's very difficult to understand because how can you say glance means for us, we just seeing some object, food we saw, we are viewing the monitor, we are looking at me, hearing katha, but we don't understand the glance. The vision is completely different. That vision is nothing but the Sambhu Tattva or the Shiva Tattva. So when Vishnu wants to create this material world, he doesn't directly touch the material elements. From Pradhana, he glances, impregnates Mother Maya, which is Durga or Parvati, whomever you call it as. Then Vishnu expands in himself as a Shambhu Tattva. Through glance, he agitates these 16 pradhanas. Now, any questions so far before we move on to the next topic?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, can you, Danvat Pranams,
Hmm.
can you just repeat this last part?
The last
Is it
two
possible?
lines alone, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
From Pradhana, he glances.
There is a pradhana, unmanifested thing. These are the energy or the things, ingredients available comes out of his willingness to create. In the Yoga Nidra, we wanted to create. That's what happened. So with Rama Devi, he was having in union, or you can say he's having a pastime. It's not like a mundane thing, but it's his consort. So when he's in Yoga Nidra, he desired that I want to create many universes. I want to create, because I'm alone, I want to create more living entities and things like that. When he desired, then this 16 items of pradhana is there. Then he impregnates the material world. But the problem is Vishnu doesn't directly come and impregnate, touches the material world in the three gunas. He doesn't interfere with the three gunas. It's beyond the modes of. So what he does, the Ramadevi expands, or you can say her shadow expands into Parvati. Similarly, Mahavishnu, his glance is expanded as a Sambhu or Shiva. He expands himself as Shiva. So it's basically Shiva comes out of his eyes, you can say, or his vision. It is not eyes, it is his vision, the glance, what we call it as. Technically, that is also a person. In spiritual world, everything is a person. Mahavishnu's glance is a person, his shadow is another person, like that. You also see in third canto of Shrimad Bhagvatam, when Brahma creates, from his back he would create something. From there are different things. He would create a twilight. There are many ingredients, objects he would create from different parts of the body. So everything is a personification. Everything is a person. So even Vishnu seeing something, that seeing is a person. That's called Shambhu.
Prabhuji,
Yeah, go ahead.
Prabhuji, I have a
Prabhuji,
question. So this glance, so this means the Shiva will be coming at the time of creation, right?
Yeah.
But then what about annihilation? I mean, we
That's
say
what I
that
said.
Shiva is ever
Yeah,
existing.
that's what I said. There is a Sadashiva, there is a Sambho, there is a Rudra. So I told you, there is one Sadashiva is always in the Vishnu Tattva. He is not a Shiva Tattva. See, there are Shiva Tattva, Radha Tattva, Guru Tattva. They're all different. And Dhamma Tattva. These are different topics to discuss. When we say Shiva, it is not a post. There is only one person Shiva, and he has a Parvati, Ganesha, Kartikeya. They are not post. They are all representative or pure devotees of the Lord. It is not a post. Brahma is a post, but Shiva is not a post. Mm-hmm. So when they are there, he also has multiple incarnations, multiple levels. One is Sadashiva, purely a Vishnu form. He's always in the spiritual world. He never comes to the material world.
Okay.
When Vishnu wants to transform from milk to curd, this is the Vishnu is milk. He wants to create the material world, doesn't want to touch the three modes of material nature. He converts himself into curd. That's nothing but Shambhu or Shiva Tattva. Sadashiva becomes Shambhu, you call it as, and Mother Parvati. They put together, they agitate these modes of material nature, and she creates this further 16 ingredients into 24 items. Then again we need help of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu to activate it. See, every step. So Brahma, Narada was asking, Brahma, I see you that you're creating everything you're creating perfectly, except that you sometimes go and meditate. Please tell me more. Then Brahma says, no, I don't create. See, first is Garbhodakshaya Vishnu comes, he creates his 16 elements, then he agitates, Then he becomes Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Then Garbhodakshaya Vishnu enters into the each planet, each bubble. One bubble he enters. Then I take birth. Then every living entity he expands himself into ever into the the Shirodakshaya Vishnu, and I don't do anything. So then he was trying to explain. So similarly, so that now Lord Vishnu is transforming into God or Shiva or Parvati, who are in the material nature, who will touch the three modes of material nature. But even though they touch the three modes of material nature, they are not impacted by it. Shiva and Parvati is beyond modes of material nature. Even though Brahma and Shiva, they take care of the in charge of the modes of material nature, but they're not impacted by it. But they have to touch the material modes of nature. They will be touching. But Shiva and Krishna, Vishnu and any other incarnation, Vishnu is incarnation and Krishna, even though they come to the material world, they've been never impacted by these three modes of material nature. They don't never touch the three modes of material nature. But Shiva and Parvati, being Parvati herself the material nature, Shiva being the husband of Parvati, they are in the material nature, but they are beyond the impact of that. Even Brahma is in the material nature. He is also subjected to the material nature, the three modes of material nature.
Which Shiva is material nature?
Understood, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
So now when the Lord meditates, he sees the glance I was talking about. The pradhana is there, the 16 elements that manifest into 23 or 24 elements of Mahatattva. Actually, from pradhana, when he glances, the unmanifested, the unmanifested forms of all these ingredients becomes manifested. It will become 5 senses, 5 indriya, 5 acquiring knowledge, 5 senses for the karmendriya, jnanendriya, then intelligence, mind, ego, all those things expands, which Parvati or Maya energy creates as ingredients. Because the time factor, basically, then we will see in the further one, the time as well as the swabhava as well as karma. Yeah, I've showed you this topic, right, previously. The kala. So what happens is dravya. So far we talked about the 16 types of dravya, right, pradhana, that it was manifested into Mahatattva, which will expand it into 24 elements by the help of the Maya Devi. Then the Lord, when he impregnates, when he sees the Maya material energy, he infested with kala, swabhava and karma. So kala will start the three modes of material nature. Then karma means based on the living entity's karma, what body he is supposed to take. Swabhava is very important, the activity of the inclination of the Atma. Then this jiva, with these two things, then that's how the Vishnu impregnates. When he glances, all the elements will go. They will go subhava, karma of the jiva as well as kala. This will agitate the material, the 16 elements in Parvati. So, or this material nature you call this. That becomes Mahatattva. The Mahatattva will have all this kala, three modes of material nature. Because when Vishnu Pradhana, there is no three modes of material nature. When somebody needs to create this universe, then they need to be in the material modes of nature. That's where Mahatattva is managed by the Durga, or you can say kind of a mother, and she agitates and keeps again. Again, Vishnu would expand. Then you can say there are three modes of material nature based on the mind is mode of goodness, intelligence is mode of passion, ahankara is mode of ignorance. All those three things comes out from the 16 items. Then prana comes, the 10 senses comes, jnanendriya, 5 karmendriya, 5 gross elements, 5 sense object. This all expands into Mahatattva as a 24 element, including consciousness. So this is the agitation process we call. For this agitation, okay. So you can see that Karanodakshaya Vishnu glances over Pradhana. The modes are inactive nature. That time I said Kala, Karma, Svabhava, the Jiva of that. It will agitate and becomes Mahatattva. Mahatattva is what I told about 24 elements or 23 elements, whatever you call it as. That converts. That will have all the modes of material nature. When the modes of material nature is in predominantly, it is there as a. I'll stop here. Maybe another 5 minutes. So modes of material nature, what happens is mode of goodness, and there are deities. Deities in the mode of goodness, mind, and the devatas who's controlling the senses. There are 10 senses we have. Okay, so here you can see the sense organ is there. Eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin, hands. These are 5 Jnanendriyas, 5 Karmendriyas. Then the eyes, whatever we believe as eyes, that is not the sense. That is the placeholder of the sense. For example, there are 2 eyes. Does not mean that we have 2, what do you say, 2 senses. So it is called chakshu, in Sanskrit called chakshu. Behind that eyes, there is a subtle element which is called chakshu, which will enable the eyes to see. If the chakshu is not there, even though somebody is having eyes, they call blind because they can't see. Everything is there, they can't see. This subtle element of chakshu is controlled by one of the devatas, Surya. So similarly, we might have 2 ears. Does not mean that we have 2 hearings, Shrota. That subtle senses is one, which will enable connecting the physical object of eyes, nose, and things like that to the Karmendriya and Jnanendriya. So these are the subtle elements of the organs. So similarly, what happens is when this Mahatattva is there, when the mode of goodness is agitated, Mahatattva, then what happens is you get Mahatattva is mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance. Mode of ignorance is called Ahankara. So when Mahatattva predominantly in mode of ignorance, then it becomes the false ego. During Mahatattva mode of goodness and passion, you will have a mind and intelligence, and few other items also comes out. So in the mode of goodness, the devatas who's controlling the senses, not the physical object, but the subtle organs of that is called mode of goodness. In mode of passion, you have intelligence and the 10 senses, and and in the tamasic mode of ignorance, you have the 5 gross elements and 5 sense object, which we discussed about it. So far, so good.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, lot of innumerable universes are will come out from the breeding of Karnodaka Sai Vishnu. This is what I have heard, Prabhuji. Is that wrong, Prabhuji?
Yeah, it is right. So there are so many universes are coming. Now we are still talking about the universe coming out when the Karnadaksha Vishnu, he manifests into Mahatattva, he glances the Pradhana with Swabhava, Karma of the Jiva as well as the time. Then the mode of material nature comes. The mode of material nature will manifest into another 24 elements. Still we are not come to the Garbhodaksha Vishnu. So then after that, what happens in Garbhodaksha Vishnu? What are the Shaktis are there? So there is a Jnana Shakti, Kriya Shakti, and Dravya Shakti. The Adi Deva, Adi Atma, Adi Bhuta, right? That's a concept I want to explain, because I told you, right, 9 and 10, it's very difficult because I need to go through the entire stuff to understand you. Now, what is Adi Atma? What is Adi Bhuta? What is Adi Deva? In essence, you can think there's the mind and the controlling deities, they are called Adi Deva. Adi Atma, Prana, 10 senses, and intelligence, they're all called Adhyatma. The body himself, the location where the eyes and other parts are located, that is called Adibhuta, the Tanmatras and the 5 elements. This all, what Prabhupada is telling, is created by the Lord and destroyed by the Lord. When the destruction happens, right, when we talk about destruction, we talked about the 4 type of destruction. Similarly, so this we got was occasional Naimitika. So I'll only cover this for 2 minutes, then I will end here at 10:40. So this occasional Naimitika destruction, what happens? I said every day of the Brahma. It's not only every day of Brahma. Not only every day. Okay. It happens in multiple times. What happens is 1 yuga, 4 yugas are the Satya, Treta, Dwapara, Kali Yuga. After Kali Yuga, there will be a partial pralaya. Small pralaya, then the Satyuga comes. It's not that cycle doesn't continue like that. Then in between there is a Sandhya, Satyuga, and next, Kali Yuga is over, next Satyuga has to come. There will be a small gap that is called Sandhyas. That time this destruction happens. Now every cycle, 4 yugas, there is a small pralaya happens. After that, there are manvantras, 14 manvantras. Every manvantra changes, there is a partial pralaya. Once Manmantra opens, entire day of the Brahma, then there are Sandhyas, every Sandhyas, right? Manvantra is over, then another Manvantra comes, there is in between period is called Sandhya. There also some pralaya happens. Then entire day of the Brahma, then pralaya happens. And entire life of the Brahma, there is one pralaya happens, right? So it is that order in which there are many pralaya happens. Sorry, just give me that table. Okay, that is called occasional, Naimitika. Then material is Prakritika, as you said, Brahma's life, end of the universe. The entire Anda is, the entire round is there, no? Globe. There are 14 planetary systems from the stem of Brahma. He creates many systems. Everything will be annihilated. During Naimitika, what happens is, up to Satyaloka, only Satyaloka will be there. Below Tapaloka, Jnanaloka, all the 13 planetary system will be destroyed here in the first occasional one. So the material one, the entire planetary system, entire globe will be burnt into ashes, and there will be 100 years of rain will happen, and like that. There are more details about it, we don't have time. So the final one is the jiva is getting liberated. Now, even though this is ahankara, see the false ego, unless we destruct our false ego, we continue to take birth and life cycle. After destruction, everything goes inside the Mahavishnu's, and Mahavishnu again sleeps. Again he recreates. But what is not destroyed is, this material universe can be destroyed, Brahma can be destroyed, but our false ego is remains same. Again, when Pradhana is manifested into Mahatattva, and our Kala Karma, not Kala, Karma and Subhava comes again we manifest again if we are not able to make endeavor to go back to Godhead. So that is very important one in the annihilation, that out of these four, the final one is very, very important, which is never distracted unless you take Shrimad Bhagavatam seriously, chant your rounds, take Krishna conscious seriously, then you will not be able to come out of it. Constant is Nitya, anyhow your changes in the body is happening. So other three are constantly happening. But the final one, you have to make an endeavor. Unless you crush your false ego, then you will not be able to go back to Godhead. So in summary, what the topic we saw today is that 6th and 7th shloka talked about how the Nirodha, which we talked about 4 types of destruction, how the creation happens, like Pradhana, Mahatattva happens. Similarly, when annihilation happens, the earth will merge with the, I think earth will merge with the water will merge with fire merge with the air, and air will merge with the sound. Then everything will go. Again, that will merge with the mind, intelligence, mode of passion, mode of ignorance, mode of things. They'll all merge again. They'll all become Mahatattva. Then Mahatattva is inundated, it will becomes again to Pradhana. So the destruction, how the creation happens, the destruction also similarly happens, the same process. Below, underneath the Anantasesha, he would get angry, and so much fire comes out, as well as sun. He would burn for 100 years. Even the entire ocean water will be evaporated. It will become a plain ground. And people will not have any rain. They will all die killing each other. Then after that, the water will inundate. Everything I'm talking about the subtle things, air, fire, war, ether, sound, smell, touch, skin, all those will be inundated. Again, it will become Pradhana, and Pradhana becomes, then it will become Pradhana. It goes inside the Mahavishnu. Then it recreates again. So then the Prabhupada in the 7th and 8th and 9th shloka, he talks about predominantly how Paramatma is the Asharya of all this Adhyatmika, Adi Bhautika, Adi Devika. Even though whatever manifestation is creating it, this all rests on Vishnu. There is no other shelter. So that's the importance he is creating for the creation. I would stop here. Sorry for exceeding the time. I know this is quite a lot, but yeah, thank you very much. We can stop here.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. A very detailed and very clear presentation, Prabhu. Is there any questions? Any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna, Mataji, I have a question.
Yeah, yes,
Prabhuji. I don't know whether it is right to ask Prabhuji, but I saw in the slide that Ahankara also coming out from the Lord. So how can we take that, Prabhuji? Because that is the only thing which will destroy everything. Because that will stay till the last, even after the Pralaya also. So how can one come out of that, Prabhuji? Because many are ignorant because they are not at all taking up to Krishna consciousness and practicing also. So what about those souls, Prabhuji? Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, you are on mute.
Okay. There are false ego means there are true ego as well, right? True ego is that a Jivara Sarupaya Krishna Ranitya Das. So when it transforms anything on spiritual world, it's a reflection of material world, perverted reflection. That's what we say. So the true ego from Krishna has manifested as a false ego here. So that's why Acharya says, Prabhupada, that's why I asked you to read entire Prabhupada purport. Then he says clearly, Shrimad Bhagavatam asks the question for all the answers. And you need to follow reading, chanting, then you can go back to Godhead. The liberation part of it, Prabhupada is talking about. So the liberation, there are two kinds of people. Again, Prabhupada talked about Nitya, Nitya Baddha, Nitya Siddhas. Nitya Baddhas, there are again two types. One, you want to go back, progress to Krishna. Another one is eternally want to reside. So for you want to go back to Krishna, then you have to do chanting, hearing, Shrimad Bhagavatam, reading. Then you will go back to Godhead. Then the false ego will be finished. Even one desire to enjoy a globe jamun you have, that desire, like Swabhavika I said, the desire what you want to become. And the karma is what you have done previously, what you're supposed to get. So you have to nullify entire karma. The previous karma, what you're currently doing, the future karma, everything needs to be null. Then your Swabhavika means desire. There is no desire other than Krishna. Except any simple enjoyment also is there for your life, family attachment, then you have to come back again. So this false ego is not very easy to remove. So that's why, in bhakti, you see there are so many stages, right? Shraddha to, prema, like that. So there's a lot of effort required to do that. It's not just, bhakti is easy chanting and, not like that. So we need to make a constant endeavor to not to be attached, not to be like attracted, remove the karma, taking only prasadam strictly. I will chant every day. So that will help you to remove these karmas.
Sure, Prabhuji, thank you.
Not in that mood, but we want to serve Lord and we want to achieve the Lord. But byproduct is that always it burns out all our karmas.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu, can we take up one more question? Shanti Mataji, you have raised up her hand. Her hand is for reading or this is for question, Mataji? Okay. So no questions. Prabhu, can we end the session here?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, so we'll do Vaishnav Pranam. Okay, we'll do Vaishnav Pranam. Panchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namah Ananta Koti Vaishnavindi ki jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam. Thank you so much for the wonderful session.
Prabhuji, Dandavat pranam. Thank you so much. Wonderful class, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you. Dandavat pranam.
Shall I end the session, Prabhu?
Please.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.